This is the Vaguely Nerdy Podcast, where every week this brother-sister duo gets together to discuss the box office, latest film and TV scoops, along with our latest movie and or show review, and what we're getting into next. We're your host, Cheryl.
And Jay.
All right. So this week we watched Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga, which is the latest entry in the Mad Max franchise. And Jay is quizzing me today.
Yes.
What you got?
Okay. Trivia for Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga. Lackey Hume, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, or Lackey Hume, okay. Plays Immortan Joe in Fury Road and in Furiosa. But he also has another role that is just as prominent in Furiosa. Which role would that be? What other character?
He played two characters?
Yes. So the guy who played Immortan Joe also played another character.
He didn't look like Immortan Joe. Was he...
It was a prominent side character.
A prominent side character. Mm-hmm. Was he the herbologist? The guy who was like the herb doctor who would like...
No, the
turning people into meat?
The medical therapist or whatever?
No. Okay, so he wasn't him. Oh, was he the guy with the horns? Like Dementor's main henchman?
He was not.
Did he play himself as Immortan Joe and his son? Was he playing like a father-son duo?
No, he was not one of the kids.
The brother?
No, he was not the brother.
Who else was the important side character? Oh, was he the reader, the scribe, the map guy?
No, he clearly wasn't Gandalf.
Right. Joe. I was trying to say, I'm naming everybody. Who's left? Was he one of the skinheads?
No, he wasn't one of the skinheads.
I'm sorry, I don't know what else to call him. There wasn't any. Furiosa didn't have any. He wasn't Jack, was he? No. All right. Okay. I don't know.
No.
Can I get a clue?
He has a very distinct face.
Who had a distinct face? There was a woman who had a very jacked up face.
Yes.
I don't know.
I mean, there's so many messed up faces in this movie.
Everybody looked like a hot mess. So he wasn't the sons. He wasn't Jack. He wasn't the herbologist. He wasn't the brother.
Nope.
I don't know. I give up.
You giving up?
Oh, wait. No. I don't know who it is.
So the guy who played Immortan Joe also played a character named Rizdale Pell. I'm not sure if they mentioned his name too many times.
They didn't mention a lot of people's names.
He was Dementus's lieutenant, the guy with the one eye and the wig.
Oh, duh. The dude with the... I forgot about wig. I forget about wig. Okay, yes, he was the other main guy.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
He played both roles.
Were they ever in the same room?
They were in the same room when they were trading the girl, but the camera goes back and forth. So they're never in the same shot at the same time. Okay. But it is the same actor. He, Lackey Hume is the guy who plays Immortan Joe in this film, who replaced the original Immortan Joe, who died just a few years ago.
Okay.
After Fury Road. And also, not trivia, but an extra tidbit. Shout out to Tina Turner, because yesterday was the 2-year anniversary of her passing.
Oh, it's been 2 years already?
It was also the release date of this Mad Max film.
Oh, okay.
And if you don't know, Tina Turner played Auntie Entity in Beyond Thunderdome, and she was the bad guy in that Mad Max film. So
we don't need another hero.
Yes. Beyond Thunderdome came out in 1985.
Okay.
With Mel Gibson.
Okay. Very cool. Dang. Okay. Two-piece combo.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Well, that is the trivia for this episode. Let's get into the rest of the episode. Welcome, fellow movie buffs. I'm Jay.
I'm Cheryl.
Listen in as we break down movie and TV shows, tell you what's in the plot, and hear if we think you should have watched it when you had the chance.
Dun, dun, dun. All right. So for news this week, we got a little chunk Marvel has its own section on today's episode. So we'll get into all those little tidbits. We also have some news updates, I guess, about the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. And then we have a new movie starring some Marvel folks. A little bit of some cars in the trailer park. It's not full this time. We got a little room for others. And then we'll get into our quick little Buncha Crunch segments.
Okay, so for Marvel and show news, Marvel is rebranding its TV show model again. I kind of wish that they would just list out all their plans at once because if they release their new remodeling plan every week, it makes it look like they're building the plane while it's in the air, and that's not a good look, especially with the optics now.
I think they are working it out. As they are working it out, they're letting us know.
So this is an effort to help audiences watch what they want and not feel like they have to follow each and every show because each and every show will no longer be connected.
Canon, essentially. They're not canon. What's the word?
I think they're canon, but they're separating out certain shows for like required watching.
Yes.
The quote is that the hope is that, like the comics, people can just pop in anywhere and have a satisfying experience. We're trying to dispel the idea that you need to do any kind of setup work to watch anything else.
So they're trying to make it easier for people that just want to hop in and out instead of us versus us super fans who watch literally everything.
That's also what Kevin Feige said about the Disney Plus shows when they were first coming out.
He
said that they were making them so that you could watch them without feeling you could watch them and watch the movies and not feel like you have to watch both. But that turned out not to be true.
Not exactly. I mean, WandaVision. At all.
Like there were so many things you missed.
Literally with the first show, WandaVision, you had to have seen that before you watched Doctor Strange.
Yeah. So Marvel Spotlight is for the one-off shows, character-driven shows that are less connected to the MCU, like Echo and Wonder Man. Echo was just named the most watched Disney Plus show, not even just MCU.
I think it was Disney
in the past year, so that's good. Marvel Animation for animation, X-Men 97 just headlined that, and it was its most successful thing, its most critically acclaimed thing to come out of the MCU so far, not most successful. And Marvel Television is going to be for shows like Agatha, Ironheart, and Daredevil, which will have a connection to the MCU.
Which is interesting because I would like Wonder Man to have a connection, especially when we get to the last bit of Marvel news. I'm kind of like, no, let's connect these all together. But
I think that means he could still show up, but his backstory may not matter.
Okay. All right. I'll take that. It's more confusing to me. Or to me, it doesn't matter as much. Like, I'm going to watch it. So if they connect or not, I'm okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to watch all of it. But
right. And I'll try to connect the dots anyhow. It don't matter. It's part of the fun.
If they stick to it this time, because he said this before, it'll help dispel the thought that you have to watch everything to know the
right. Because some people are just going to watch X-Men 97 or what
only X-Men stuff. I'm sure, like once the X-Men make their full debut, there are people who will only show up for X-Men stuff.
Right. And you can watch X-Men 97 and probably not watch anything else movie related, I would assume.
Yeah, X-Men 97, but X-Men film stuff is what I'm saying.
Right.
Like, you had the people who only watch Black Panther stuff and then were completely confused during all of Infinity War and Endgame.
Who is White Wolf?
It's going to be the exact same once X-Men comes out.
You're probably right.
But that's people doing it to themselves. Also, the future of X-Men gets another writer. The X-Men movie that's supposed to be coming out in 2026, I think.
I don't know when that movie comes.
Maybe.
7. I'm saying 27.
They nailed down a writer by the name of Michael Leslie. He previously scribed for The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, so we know he has the ability to write long.
It was a little long. I liked it though. I'm trying to think, did I have any issue with the writing of Hunger Games?
No, I don't have any issue with it. It was healthy though. That was a healthy script.
It was 2 movies. It literally could have been 2 movies because there was a middle where it was like, oh, we have moved to another movie.
He also writing the Now You See Me 3 sequel that's going to round out that trilogy. And also...
somebody likes him.
Michael Leslie also wrote that Assassin's Creed movie with Michael Fassbender and Marion Cotillard and Michael K. Williams. So
people like that one.
There is...
he's got a variety of work.
Cautious optimism.
You know what? I've learned that people will do one thing and learn from that experience or take something from that experience, do the next thing, and to be a totally different output. So I'm gonna be optimistic.
That's true. But just putting that on the plate as well.
I mean, you know,
there's no director or cast for this, of course, yet. If there was a cast, we would absolutely know, and a director,
we won't know that for probably a couple years.
Hiring the writer seems like the smartest first step. You have to have that. You have to have something written before you have.
I agree. Something. I agree. Writer before director. I'm with you on that one.
So excited about that. Also, in other things that will be long delayed, Vision Quest, which is supposed
delayed.
Yeah, this is set for 2026 premiere so far.
Yeah. Okay. So you saying it's not coming out 2026?
Vision Quest, the Vision series, is still coming to Disney Plus and is still planned. I thought that this was abandoned because they haven't talked about this at all.
When Bob Iger said that they was cutting some stuff, like, oh, we never getting Vision. It's not coming.
This didn't even come up at the upfront.
It didn't. They just slid this right on.
They weren't even selling advertising space for it.
It's 2026, so we a little early.
Paul Bettany, Vaishon, will be returning to the role.
Vision and Vaishon.
I'm ready for more Vaishon memes. And it will be executive produced by the same guy who did the Star Trek Picard show on Paramount Plus, and that is Terry Matalas. And he will be showrunning this as well.
In particular, I believe he did season 3, which people really liked. I think the first 2 seasons are not as highly rated, but season 3 of Picard is very highly rated.
Yeah. So on that note, Terry Matalas got a WGA award, a Writers Guild Association award nomination. Okay. Not award. Okay. But he got the nomination for the series finale of Picard.
Oh, okay.
It's credited as one of the best show series finales in the franchise.
Oh.
And also he had Kevin Feige, who calls himself a Trekkie, on his Star Trek podcast, Inglorious Trek-Spurts. So
that's cute.
Rubbing shoulders is what
Kevin Feige is a nerd, and I like that Kevin Feige is sticking to his nerdom.
Absolutely.
And anytime he want to be a nerd and he wants to pick people based on their fellow nerdom, I'm all for it.
So the only details we have about this show are what you could have just gleaned from watching it, is that it's going to take place after the fallout from WandaVision. I think that's the only thing it's tied to right now is just WandaVision, and that's fine. And we're going to be watching the White Vision, or the Ghost Vision, explores his new purpose in life.
So the reason why I said I hope Wonder Man connects, because if I'm not mistaken, isn't there like a little triangle between Wonder Man, Wanda, and White Vision? Just a little one.
So
small one.
There is
a little bit.
No, they're not small at all. Very large.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So in the comics, and I read this, it's the only Vision comic series I read, but it was a comic called The Vision, called Vision. It ran from 2016 to 2015. It was only 1 year. And it was about after Wanda and Vision broke up. Okay. And Wanda went to go be with Wonder Man. Vision was discovering his new purpose in life. And he realized that he's wanted to live a human life. So he builds a wife and builds children, and they move into a regular human neighborhood, kind of like Westview. That explains
the front of the comic that I've seen.
Yeah, they move into like a regular human neighborhood, kind of like Westview, but I don't remember the name of the neighborhood.
Pleasantville.
But basically, him and his family deal with a bunch of racism.
Okay.
Because discrimination because they are robots and they're not fully human. His kids have to deal with it a lot, and then his kid, it basically deals with the fallout of Vision coming to terms with the fact that the human race will never accept him, and he kind of moves in an Ultron-like direction where he's like, well, if y'all are gonna keep being mean to my family, I'm just gonna wipe y'all out.
So Magneto.
I think one of his kids accidentally kills their best friend on accident playing around or something.
That ain't making a Disney Plus show.
Or kills one of the parents, and Agatha has to come to the Avengers and basically say, hey, I got a vision that Vision is going through it. And if we don't stop him, the vision I had was that Vision is basically going to fulfill Ultron's dream and wipe out the human race.
Besides killing the kid.
So
I like where that goes.
At the end of the comic, Vision had to deactivate his family.
Oh, like Wanda had to get rid of her family.
And he goes back to the Avengers.
That's like one of the saddest Marvel scenes ever, is Wanda having to say bye to her family.
It was very sad because the last couple pages of the panel was his wife. He keeps his daughter.
Okay, interesting.
But the son gets destroyed, and the wife he deactivates because she's kind of just like, I'm glad that you brought me to life, and I'm glad. It was kind of like Bride of Frankenstein. She was like, I appreciate you bringing me to life and giving me this family, giving me experience, but this is not where I want to be. Please shut me off.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So, yeah.
Oh, well, this has some promise then.
Yeah, so it
I'm
has
curious
the
of what
potential to
pick.
get very deep, just like WandaVision did. And Agatha is already established, so she could tie that in. She could.
No, they haven't said where Vision Quest fits in terms of this new branding either, so we don't know.
Because that side comic for Vision that I just went through was a side thing,
right?
And it didn't really affect it. The Avengers never actually had to step in to stop him. Vision ended up course correcting it himself.
So this could neither be a tie-in or they could make this a spotlight.
Yeah,
interesting. We'll see.
Excited.
We'll see.
Maybe they'll do that.
It sounds good now that you explained it.
Also, in the world of Disney, we got some news that there will be more pirate films.
We already knew that 2 pirates were coming. They gave us a little more detail. So we talked about this in episodes 28 and 35. If you want to go back and check those out. We are getting a reboot film that will be written by Jeff Nathanson. His writing credits are very interesting. They include, let me take this back. 2 films. One of them will be a reboot. Jeff Nathanson will write one, and his credits include Rush Hour 2 and 3. Catch Me If You Can, and then he also wrote Dead Man Tells No Tales, which is not our favorite Pirates movie. He wrote The Lion King, the remake of 2019, and he's writing Mufasa.
Yes.
So some of these are hits, some of these we ain't seen yet.
Rush Hour 2 was really good.
I don't even remember 3.
3 wasn't that good, but watchable. Catch Me If You Can.
That's a
good.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Leonardo DiCaprio. Absolutely. Right. Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man Tells No Tales. Had a great ending credit stinger that they never followed up on with Orlando Bloom.
Sure. Skip.
How about we pick that up?
No, because I don't want angry Orlando Bloom back. Absolutely
I don't think he'll be angry Orlando Bloom.
I was so upset with that. Lion King was a remake of the original, so I don't know how much he wrote.
Mufasa, we're holding out optimism for.
We don't know yet. We don't know yet. Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
Jerry Bruckheimer confirms this is intended as a reboot wouldn't follow familiar characters. I think that's a bad decision.
Really? I think they should start from scratch. Totally from scratch.
I'm not interested in watching this from the beginning.
I am.
Like the whole world building. The Pirates of the if that's the case, just leave it alone. Because the whole point of a reboot is you're not going to do it better than those first 3 movies.
You might not better, but comparable. You don't think so?
Comparable is not good enough.
I don't know. But
there's no reason to have 2 of the same types of things.
Pirates was such a fun time. We don't have any movie like a Pirates or a Mummy. Or I'm trying to think of something else.
They exist in the time that they're in.
I know, but we need I would like another fun adventure time.
I would,
traveling,
but I want it done correctly. So many people lived in the Pirates movies.
Who would you even follow?
The only person that
besides
you
Jack
can't bring back is Jack and Barbossa. Everybody else is still alive.
But who would we care about enough to be like, oh, I want to go see that side character 4 movie.
The Flying Dutchman is still a thing. Keira Knightley is still around.
They can keep the
Orlando
props.
Bloom is still around. They have
they have a son now though.
Teresa from Maze Runner and the son.
No, I don't want that story.
I mean, it doesn't have to be following them, but they are alive in this world. It could be part. Jack's crew is mostly all still alive. The only people gone is Jack. Because they're not gonna come up with better.
We on opposite sides of the fence. I'm going Jeff. Give us something new and fresh and good so that we can persuade Jay for this new movie.
Also, there's a spinoff possibly happening still with Margot Robbie. She talked about this some years ago. But there's a spinoff that's possibly happening with Margot Robbie starring in the film, in the Pirates film. And it's going to be written by Christina Hodson from Birds of Prey. That's not bad. Birds of Prey
that's a good mashup.
A very good movie. And the 2 of them work together on that.
Right.
So
which one's coming first?
Birds of Prey was one of the better DC
Yes,
movies.
And it gets trashed for no reason.
No, we know.
Well, we know. Yes, I'm sorry.
I would be more interested in that because it's different.
Okay.
This seems like they're just doing a spinoff based in a world. A spinoff makes sense to not use any of the same characters. A reboot
doesn't
talks about redoing.
I think
that was perfect.
I think I just need to rewatch the original trilogy and fulfill my urge of more pirates. And maybe I'll be satisfied. I don't know.
Yeah, it should be a revival.
Okay. Oh, you say, okay, don't start over. Just pick up where we left off.
Yeah.
I mean,
because
okay.
the world is so, they did so many, Shipwreck Cove, like so many things. The East Indian Trading Company, I still talk about the East Indian Trading Company all the time.
It's kind of like with Harry Potter, where there's so much to explore, but they keep harping on the same people. Like, there's a whole world that we haven't touched that hasn't been written about.
Yeah, and that's kind of why with the Harry Potter reboot, the show, I'm like, when are we gonna explore more Aurors? Because even in the books, Harry says how he thinks the Aurors are so cool. So how about we follow the people that the main character?
They could literally pick any part of that world and have a whole new show,
but they stick to Hogwarts
in that school. Like, we have moved beyond the school, y'all.
Yeah,
good game though, by the way. But
great game.
Anyway,
Mark Ruffalo will be replacing Pedro Pascal in the upcoming Crime 101 film. We talked about this in episode 5. So look at us breaking news.
Hey.
Chris Hemsworth and Pedro Pascal were supposed to team up for this Crime 101 film. It looks like Pedro dropped out, which makes sense. He's in a lot of stuff.
He's busy.
He's been working a lot.
And busy.
And in the Fantastic Four, so scheduling, I'm sure.
Last of Us, in that movie
even
with
though I'm sure his
Webb.
Last of Us filming probably took like 5
That's
hours.
what everybody say, and I think we all caught on to why.
This film is set to be released in theaters next year by Amazon MGM Studios. It's based on a novella of the same name about a jewel thief on his final score and a detective trying to catch him.
Heat. We said this in episode 5.
It's kind of like Heat.
It's very, and I'm not mad at that.
And Heat 2 is coming out, so hey.
Oh yeah, Andrew Driver.
Battle of the Heats.
We need to get on that. We need to get on that Heat too.
Additional movie plot details are being kept under wraps, and like I said, we said Pedro was going to be in it, but he's not. So I still think the cast is going to expand.
We still don't know who is who, right? We don't know who's the thief and who's the detective.
No.
I'm giving Hemsworth as thief and Marfaro. I'm going with that. Marfaro as the detective.
Crimsworth.
We just made up two names.
Chris Hemsworth does good villain.
Yeah, as we will get into.
Later in this episode.
Uh-huh.
Mark Ruffalo gives good detective. Uh-huh. I read this and I was like, Mark is back in his Zodiac bag.
He also was the detective in the Tom Cruise Jamie Foxx movie that I could never remember the name of, but it's really good.
He was detective
when Tom Cruise was the hitman and Jamie Foxx was the cab driver. It's not Minority Report, and I really want to call it that. I wanted to
say Quantico.
Nope, we know what it is. It's fine.
Collateral.
Yes, there it is. Yes. There it is. Yes, Mark Ruffalo had like the greasy comb back hair.
I didn't recognize him.
Because he had a very greasy comb back hairdo.
Yeah. So he was in Zodiac, which also was in which starred Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, okay.
Not as Iron Man. And Jake Gyllenhaal not as Mysterio.
Oh, look at that. I like when the Marvel team teams up outside and do other movies.
I mean, that was way before Marvel.
They didn't know.
Still good.
The destiny was still in the stars at that point.
All right. So that is all of our movie show news and updates. Let's roll into the trailer park.
Toot toot. Beep beep. So first we have Longlegs again, because we had a trailer the last episode. Once again, just a reminder, if you didn't know, it's coming out July 12th, so not too far from now. This trailer seems more to show...
It seems more like an actual trailer.
It does, because we get a little backstory, or we get some hints that the main character and the serial killer might have some sort of connection.
I think she might have been it seems like he murders families.
Yes. Yeah, we said that.
And maybe she's a surviving member of a family.
But wouldn't she remember that? They're not giving away a ton of plot.
I think that's why the case is or she has connections to the occult side of the investigation.
Like a dark secret of some sort.
Yeah.
This trailer sets that up.
Nicolas Cage is clearly a serial killer.
Obviously.
And she is a detective, Micah Monroe.
Of some sort. Mm-hmm.
And it looks like his killings have something to do with the occult, because symbolism is all over this film. It's left at the crime scene. There are scenes of demonic imagery that we are not sure if it's part of Nicolas Cage's psychosis, or
if it's real,
if there are spirits actually crossing over into this plane. Looks interesting though.
It looks good. I'm not gonna lie.
Looks skin crawly. I like the opening of the trailer where she hears a noise and she goes outside to see what the noise is, and you can see behind her in the window Nicolas Cage is in her house.
Yeah, it's like there's a scene in I think it's Candyman where it's like that where you're way panned out and the character's a little back and you see behind them something going on. You're like, no, go in there, but they can't hear you because you're an audience. So it looked good and spooky.
It looks good and spooky. Micah Monroe, I just realized, is the same actress from It Follows, which will also be getting a sequel in the next coming year.
We talked about that previously.
Under the same studio, Neon. So Neon is her house.
Listen, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
And It Follows is a great film, and she does a great final girl.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Absolutely.
We'll see if she make it out of this one.
Beverly Hills Cop Axel F is also coming out on Netflix. This has a premiere date of July 3rd, 2024. What do you think?
This trailer look real cheesy.
It does. It looks like a very safe Bad Boys.
Too cheesy. And it's rated R, I think?
Yeah, and it still looks like it's
cheese, man.
It reminds me of
real cheese.
Those Arnold Schwarzenegger cop films.
Okay. But more
like
cheesy.
The Kindergarten Cop.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
The initial trailer sneak peek or whatever that we got, I was like,
better. Yeah.
I was on board. Now I'm kind of like,
too much.
It's given
too much.
Coming to America.
Yeah, the sequel.
Which I hated. Sorry, I didn't like it. We'll see. We'll see what those numbers look like that first weekend.
Yeah, it's on Netflix, so it's at no risk to us.
It's not. We'll see if it make it on the podcast. I don't know. We'll see what else coming out.
But our mom is really excited. So it has those.
Some people are excited.
It has those nostalgia feelings flowing. So
not for me.
Next stop on the trailer park, we have Beetlejuice, which will be coming into theaters on September 6th, 2024. What are your thoughts?
Cheese.
Okay, so
I didn't like it.
Let me do this.
I'm sad
because
I'm sad.
I watched this trailer and I was like, I think I missed a trick by not seeing this when I was a kid because I'm glad that I'm not glad that you also are disappointed. But
okay.
What I'm saying is I'm glad
you
that
have company.
I don't feel like I'm on an island alone because I watched this trailer and I was like, I think I missed the trick by not seeing this when I was a kid. So this feels I have no connection to this because it's so cheesy. If I had saw this when I was a kid, I'd be like, oh, of course it's cheesy. This is what I expected. But now seeing it as an adult, I'm like, no,
I wouldn't call Beetlejuice
this is too cheesy.
Cheesy. Well, it feels like they're trying to artificially recreate the magic that was the OG Beetlejuice. Mm-hmm. And
it's out of time.
Winona Ryder is reading her lines like she's doing the voiceover of the trailer, and it's not.
Everybody seems kind of dry. Jenna Ortega seems dry, and she's not a dry actress.
Yeah,
Winona seems dry, and I mean, if you've seen Stranger Things, you know Winona. I mean, anything Winona Ryder's in, she's not dry.
I'm not sure what's not landing for me with this trailer, but I watched it and was like, oh, okay.
So this stars Michael Keaton, of course, as Beetlejuice. Winona Ryder is reprising her role. Jenna Ortega is joining the film as Winona Ryder's child. Catherine O'Hara, who plays Winona Ryder's mom.
I can't remember. Sure.
And Justin Theroux, who
somebody gonna correct it.
I don't recall Justin Theroux was in the first one, even though I didn't see it.
So I think he's playing somebody new.
So he's a new addition in this. Yeah, it just looked really
Monica
cheesy.
Monica Bellucci
and Willem Dafoe. Absolutely.
Monica Bellucci looks great though. By
amazing.
The way.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Willem Dafoe.
Yes, they look like the cool kids.
Everybody in this looks good. I mean, except for Beetlejuice.
Well, yeah, he's not supposed to.
Yeah.
He looked extra Beetlejuicy.
Okay, so I'm glad that I am not alone.
Because we didn't previously discuss this.
It reminds me of Haunted Mansion.
Haunted look more entertaining.
I mean, Haunted Mansion had its moments. Haunted Mansion was not a perfect movie, but it had its funny moments, and it definitely existed within its budget.
It did.
It looked like it did.
It came out at the wrong time. Way wrong time.
Yeah. So
we're gonna have to. It's a Beetlejuice sequel. We're gonna have to watch it. But I was a little disappointed by the trailer.
So my initial thoughts with this trailer was that I'm worried that the movie's not going to attract people who didn't watch the original Beetlejuice because this looks too goofy and too cheesy. And then you who just raved about the original Beetlejuice when this movie was announced.
I was excited for the little teaser
is disappointed.
we got.
So now I'm super worried because now I'm like, okay, so this seems to turn off people who didn't watch the original Beetlejuice, and now it's turned off the people who did watch the original Beetlejuice.
I could be in the minority, and most people might. You guys tell us, did you like this full trailer of Beetlejuice? Are you excited? Or are you like me? We're like, ooh, I don't know. I'm a little iffy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm nervous, especially now that we have sequels that are, or prequels that are not getting as much love at the box office as we think.
No,
they typically
from
would.
Continuing franchises. Franchises, films that are being received well by audiences are still not attracting people to. So, yeah. If this doesn't do well by week 2, it's going to be on streaming by week 4.
Listen, they put... Okay, very sidebar. Fall Guy is officially available on demand. I think you can rent it or buy it. Mm-hmm. We recommend watching it.
Absolutely.
But it's open 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like, they are throwing these movies that don't do well.
It opened this summer, and the summer hasn't started.
And
it's on streaming.
Give it a chance, y'all.
But
not
also,
y'all as in studios, not y'all as in y'all.
Also, how long, what is the right amount of time to keep a movie in theaters that isn't making any money?
I guess.
Because the ratio between the people who say, oh, they're not keeping movies in theaters long enough, and the people who don't go see the movies, it's not adding up. Like,
something wrong, something broken.
How is the movie not in theaters long enough when nobody is seeing it?
You're not wrong.
Are they supposed to wait until week 12 for everybody to show up?
We can do a whole segment on that, but you're right. I'm a little nervous for Beetlejuice. Just a touch.
So that was our trip to the trailer park. It was very short this week. Let's dive into this Buncha Crunch.
All right. So first up, we have a new cast member joining the Jurassic World movie that we don't have an official title for. Yes. Rupert Friend, who is from the movie Asteroid City, which I did not watch. And
what was that movie about?
That was the one with Scarlett Johansson, who was also in this movie.
Yes.
With Jeff Gold. It had a bunch of people in it.
Yes.
He was also in Obi-Wan Kenobi as the Grand Inquisitor, which you wouldn't notice because he is covered in makeup.
Yes.
I was like, where was he in Obi-Wan? Because I liked Obi-Wan. So he is joining Scarlett Johansson. Obviously, they're friends. I'm just kidding. In this new Jurassic World movie. So we have Scarlett Johansson. We have Jonathan Bailey. We have another cast member who I can't remember his name. So we're
a guy that I think they're casted as the villain.
We think so. Mm-hmm. Yes, there was a rumor of Coleman Domingo and Dev Patel, but I haven't heard anything else.
The Coleman Domingo rumors kind of quieted down.
And went.
So maybe the other guy that they just hired is the one who replaced. It's very interesting. I'm starting to see a lot of headlines about people who say they passed on this movie.
Yes.
Glenn Powell said he passed on it not because it's a good film, because he just didn't see a place that he had in it, which is interesting because
they might have made him a minor character. The Venn diagram
between the outlandishness and Twister and Jurassic Park is a circle.
Well, maybe it wasn't the outlandishness. Maybe the role wasn't big enough for him. That's what I read that as. I read it as he wanted a big role, and they were like, here's a little role. He was like, no, thank you.
I mean, what other role? I would think he would be like the lead.
We don't even know what this movie. Who's Jonathan Bailey then?
He's now the lead male actor in it.
We don't have a script yet, so we all kind of like, well, how many people do you need for one? And what are these people doing for two? And dinosaurs.
Maybe it was too small.
Or maybe that he got killed, and he was like, no, you're not killing me in a dinosaur movie.
Yeah, I'll live in the tornado movie where I blow up tornadoes with cans of Pepsi.
Exactly. But you're right. A lot of people are coming and going and saying they got offered and passed.
Also, it's rumored that Jennifer Lawrence also turned down the role as well.
I could see her.
I could see her because she doesn't like franchises.
X-Men burned her to the core. I don't blame her.
No. Jude Law, Ana de Armas, Sydney Sweeney, Vanessa Kirby, and Daniel Bruhl will star in Ron Edwards' Eden. This is a film that is based on an unsolved mystery in the Galapagos Islands, which explores the lengths people will go to for the pursuit of happiness.
Real vague.
Real vague.
It's giving
very pretty cast though.
Beautiful gown.
Yeah.
Beautiful gown. Glass onion-y. Unsolved mystery, exotic place. Pursuit of happiness.
Galapagos Islands are Spanish.
Yes.
And There's a volcano there. A province of Ecuador.
Okay.
Diversity of plant and animal species found nowhere else.
I like it.
So, dinosaurs.
Add that to the... Wait a minute. Isn't there somebody coming out with a dinosaur movie that we don't know about?
Anne Hathaway. And
Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor.
Okay. Yes. I don't know why that made me think of that.
Probably because Jude Law is now in Star Wars.
Oh, maybe. Or we just talked about another Jurassic Park movie.
Yeah, so not excited about it, but interested. I need to see more. It literally gives us no plot details, but maybe I'll just have to Google Galapagos Island Mystery. I can't imagine there are a lot of them.
I mean, you could probably set this movie anywhere for real.
Yeah.
We'll see. We need to see a trailer, as Jay likes to say.
Aside from being in The Bear Season 3, Ayo Edebiri is also going to be in a movie with Julia Roberts and Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man to be specific. And the movie is going to be called After the Hunt. This is a movie that's going to be released by Amazon MGM Studios as well.
Another one?
Yep. It is an intense dramatic thriller that follows a college professor who finds herself at a personal and professional crossroads when a star pupil, so I'm going to assume Julia Roberts is the professor.
That is what I'm taking.
Because it'd be weird.
Yeah.
And the star pupil is Ayo.
Yes.
And so her star pupil levels an accusation against one of her colleagues, which Andrew Garfield.
Yep.
And a dark secret from her own past threatens to come to light. So
they were sleeping together.
She slept with Andrew Garfield.
That's why I was like, okay, y'all trying to hide this, but it feel like a little... a fair situation.
Good for everybody involved. I'm not interested. This is right from the headlines. This is something that is reported on all the time.
It depends. If it's like a twist of some sort, I might check it out.
It's got to be like supernatural or murdery.
Okay.
If it's just like a dramatic twist.
Somebody's like a drug dealer or putting chemicals in the water, things of that nature. Yeah. That's a little different. I'll take that.
It's got to have a dark twist.
Yeah, I don't want
this is just about an affair, I'm not interested.
I don't want no Dateline plots. Spice it up a little bit. Spice it up.
Other people who are interested in things, Adam Wingard said he is not coming back for Godzilla X Kong, which is not surprising.
It was a mutual, though. It was a mutual decision.
Yeah. Adam Wingard says he's not going to be directing the follow-up successful hit to Godzilla. I mean, way to make an exit, to make the highest grossing Monsterverse entry and then kick the door open and leave.
It finally crossed... to be number one recently. Yep.
Sources say it's due to timing. That makes sense. We just talked a couple episodes ago about how he's planning an upcoming horror film.
Yes.
He wanted to do a horror movie again before going back. And I'm sure the people over in the Godzilla X Kong were like, we need these ducats immediately while Godzilla and Kong are hot.
Listen.
So.
And my a Legacy of Monsters about to start back up.
Yeah, absolutely.
They definitely want to start immediately.
Studio has already hired the Shang-Chi writer Dave Callaham for the next Godzilla Kong installment. So I guess it's going to be another terrible twofer.
Hopefully we get more Godzilla in this one. I'm hoping, but the fact that they already got a writer means they are hot and ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
They probably already have a short list of who they want in the movie and everything.
I think it makes sense to put Godzilla more in the focus in this next one because they did just say that Kong is going to have an increased presence in the next season of Legacy of Monsters. So he can't just dominate all of this stuff.
Right.
Like Kong can't be the face of all the whole Monsterverse. It's called the Monsterverse, not the Kongverse.
It's called Godzilla X Kong, not Godzilla and Kong.
How about we explore some other beasts?
Right.
Killing everybody.
Okay. It'd be an accident. It'd be in the name of trying to save other people that people get killed.
And last but not least, we have another exciting movie announcement, which is to be expected because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And these are great. Knives Out 3 is getting a new film in the franchise and a new title. It is going to be called Wake Up Dead Man.
It's too long, but I'm excited. The type Glass Onion, Knives Out, 2 words. Wake Up Dead Man, 2 words too long. I'm like, oh, it don't got that ring to it like the other ones do.
Yeah, Wake Up Dead Man is interesting. Is it like,
he said, or somebody said the title was supposed to kind of give a hint to what the movie is about. And I said, he's a ghost,
right? I mean, nothing supernatural, of course.
It's never right. It's never so. I was like, no, that's not true.
And the last Glass Onion was about faking a death. So,
right. Right.
I don't know. Either way, they're going to nail it. The Knives Out movies are great.
Yes.
They do great writing. I think this is the most fun Daniel Craig has ever had acting because he doesn't have to jump off a rooftop and get surgery
used to
on
stay
his
pretty
legs.
safe. Yep.
And this movie is set to release in 2025. Finally, a reasonable time frame. Not telling us a movie
2027.
announcement. Yeah, 2 to 3 years out.
I hope they put this in theaters like they did the last one.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, Daniel Craig is returning. And
Yes.
I hope they stick to the whole only Daniel Craig returns.
Yes, I hope we get a whole new cast. So people on Twitter were trying to guess, now we're having fun fan castings of who we want to see in this next ensemble cast. And everybody's spitting out the same 4 people. Like, if y'all don't branch out.
Yeah,
Zendaya, I love her. She ain't got to be in everything.
That's the fun. The fun about the Knives Out movies is that they have a full cast of actual, like, known people doing, like, different types of acting.
Yes. And it's a fresh new cast every single time. Always like that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Looking forward to it.
So let us know your fan cast. We've already submitted ours. Okay, so that is it for all of the movie news and our visit to the trailer park this episode. We are going to take a quick break, and then we're going to get into our movie review of the week, Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga.
Hey.
Vroom, vroom.
This week we watched Mad Max. Nope. Start that over.
Close.
This week we watched Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga. I was close. It released on May 24th, 2024, which was just yesterday, as the day we were recording. It was directed by George Miller, who directed all of the previous Mad Max movies and Happy Feet. So he has the diverse filmography. He also directed that movie 1,000 Years of Longing with Idris Elba, I think. I didn't see that though. And Tilda Swinton. Did you watch that?
Is that genie movie?
Yeah, something like that.
He has broad interest.
He does. He also co-wrote and produced Babe, the Pig movie. So
even broader interest.
Yes. The cast includes Anya Taylor-Joy plays a younger version of Furiosa. We also have I'm going to say her name right. Aaliyah? Nope.
Alila?
Butchering that name. I'm sorry, girl. She plays a younger child Furiosa, and something I didn't know is that they use generative AI to blend her features and Anya Taylor-Joy's features on her face. So
interesting. I never would have known that. They did look very similar, but
that's why.
I guess they couldn't find another child that looked like Anya Taylor-Joy.
I mean, she was a kid, so I don't know why they needed to.
Yeah.
But anywho,
sure.
Chris Hemsworth plays Dementis. Tom Burke plays Praetorian Jack. Okay. Lachi Hume, who we mentioned earlier, whose name I'm also probably butchering, plays Immortan Joe. And there are a lot of other people in this movie that I'm not going to run down the cast. It is. But those are like the main 4. Runtime is 2 hours and 25 minutes. Budget is $168 million USD. Box office for Friday, as it sits so far, was $10.2 million domestically. Unfortunately, and we'll just sidebar this for a second, it is tracking lower than initial projections. It is now on track to do 27 to 30 million for the 3-day weekend. And because this is a holiday weekend, they include Monday. So for Monday, it's currently, including Monday, it's tracking to do 31 to 36 million over the whole holiday domestically. That's not great.
It's not good.
It's not great in terms of Memorial Day. It's doing slightly lower than Fury Road. So Mad Max is not a Marvel franchise type of blockbuster movie.
Fury Road didn't open on Memorial Day.
I can't remember.
It was a summer blockbuster, but I don't think it opened on the holiday.
Either way, it's doing just slightly under what Fury Road is doing. Unfortunately, though, for the whole, Garfield also opened this weekend, which we did not see and we will not be reviewing on this podcast. Mm-hmm. This weekend will be the lowest opening for Memorial Day weekend in like 40 years. So the box office overall down bad.
So Fury Road there are 2 things for Fury Road.
Okay.
One,
yes,
it was released in the U.S. May 15th, so a week before.
Okay.
So it wasn't technically the holiday. And had a runtime of 120 minutes.
So 2 hours.
This one definitely stretched that runtime.
Yeah.
By much longer.
Whole half hour almost, yes.
So, I mean, there are things to consider.
Right. Either way, despite the box office, everybody yelling fire and brimstone about the box office this weekend, It's doing great ratings wise. So it has a cinema score of B+, which is the exact same cinema score of Fury Road. That is also B+ is considered good for a R-rated movie. John Wick has a B. Kill Bill has a B or B+. And then, so all your type of like assassin R-rated movies get around a B.
Yeah.
So that's not bad.
It's actually good.
It's actually pretty good. Rotten Tomato score for critics is an 89 and the audience score is a 93. Also on IMDb, it's at an 8.1. Fury Road has an 8.1. Furiosa has an 8. And then I did one step further. Letterboxd is currently sitting at a 4 and Fury Road is at a 4.2. So it's basically getting the same type of ratings that Fury Road got.
Yeah, it's on par.
And Fury Road is like one of the most, I think it's rated as one of the top 100 action movies ever made.
Yeah.
So
George ain't lost it.
George ain't lost it. The cast was with it. The cast was casting and was acting. Yes. The props was propping. And we'll get into that in our review. Do you want to summarize the plot?
Sure.
Real quick.
So the plot of Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga, is essentially about young Charlize Theron.
Yes.
From Fury Road. Is played by Anya Taylor-Joy. And we get to see her be abducted from the green place that she was traveling to in Fury Road.
Right.
And 3 different stages of her life.
Yeah, pretty much.
From her abduction to growing up in the wastelands.
Right. And
to being an adult to getting revenge on Thor.
Yes, Dementis.
Who abducted her.
Right. It's going to be hard to talk about this and not spoil Fury Road. So, spoiler alert for Fury Road, we're going to be spoiling this.
Yeah, we're full spoilers for Fury Road.
Exactly. Sorry.
Absolutely.
Just go watch that first and then come back.
Yeah, come on.
Good summary. Let's talk about who we liked and didn't like as far as the actors.
I enjoyed Anya Taylor-Joy's character, Furiosa, the adult Furiosa. I also enjoyed young Furiosa.
She was good.
Because she wasn't no punk.
She wasn't taking no mess.
No.
Okay. She was like, I don't want to be here.
Even though she was raised in a green place, they clearly taught her how to like fight and survive.
Some Dora Milaje stuff was going on.
So I liked that. I really, really enjoyed Chris Hemsworth as Dementis.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
He definitely stepped out of his
Thor bag.
And we say like Thor's the only thing he's ever done in his career.
Right.
But
Ghostbusters bag.
Yes, definitely different than any other thing that I've seen Chris Hemsworth do. I loved how insane and unstable he was and how childish and irresponsible as well.
Oh my God.
Because even if he was not insane, he was still extremely childish and irresponsible.
He had a good idea, but his execution was like, are you 12?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Strangely, I enjoyed Morton Joe's appearances just as not in Morton Joe as a character, but just as seeing how he operates his citadel.
Yes,
against
we didn't get to see that
against an opposing force like Chris Hemsworth character. And I enjoyed a lot. I mean, there are a lot of side characters. I enjoy all of the weird side characters. I don't think there was any character that I was like, oh, get this
too much extra
person off my screen. Because everybody's messed up. So if you're not looking in this direction, you have to look in another direction. And everybody's jacked up. So
super jacked up.
Yeah.
I would agree with all of your takes. I would also add Praetorian. Am I saying that?
Yes, Praetorian Jack.
Praetorian Jack. I didn't know what. I don't even remember if I remember him from the trailers, but his little part was good.
He felt like a Mad Max stand-in. He felt like Mel Gibson's Mad Max.
He did, and for the time that he was in the movie and we got to see him, I really enjoyed it. So he stuck out to me. Anya Taylor-Joy did good. Chris Hemsworth did excellent. I like that we got to see more of the Morton Joe, I guess, move around and be like whatever he was before we got to him in Fury Road.
Yeah, so, and Morton Joe did some moving around in Fury Road, but he mostly stayed in the car. He did a lot of the driving.
He did.
And that's why I enjoyed him here. In this, he was more of like a military general.
Correct.
A little bit.
He was a little slimmer too, so he can move around.
And I was surprised. He was not as aggressive as I expected him to be.
No.
I expected him to be extremely aggressive, but he really actually had back and forth and like listened to like people advising him and stuff like that. And I enjoyed that because I expected him to like spin out at any moment.
Oh, okay.
And just like
there was some exchanges in the movie where he was just kind of sitting back and watching,
or people would be like shouting in his face and he wouldn't react. And
right,
it's like,
right.
That's
he was level-headed,
almost scarier,
right? Because he looks
for you to be
scary.
the person that you are and to still be level-headed when you're having these tense conversations.
You expected him at any moment to just chop your head off.
Yeah,
exactly.
Fun fact that Cheryl pointed out to me earlier: Yahya Abdul-Mateen II was originally slated to play Praetorian Jack in this film.
Would have been good.
But he dropped out.
I like who played. He was played by Tom Burke. He would have did good though. I think he would have been goodness.
Yeah, he would have did good. It wasn't a small role.
No.
The movie is long, so everybody has a pretty much
a
good chunk of screen time in the film.
Mm-hmm.
It said it was due to scheduling conflicts. I wonder if that was Wonder Man.
No, he did a play. They got Tony nominated for, I think, too.
Oh,
so
okay.
He decided. I think it was like a passion project for him.
That's good.
He did that.
It has to be something extremely important to want to turn down like a George Miller movie.
He should have made it work. But
yeah.
that's okay. We're gonna move past it.
Enjoy your Tony.
Yeah,
that's
a
good.
nomination. I don't think he won.
Okay. Well, that's still great. We still love Yahya.
We do.
Waiting for Wonder Man eagerly.
Absolutely.
Any additional ones that you liked or didn't like?
I liked all the side characters. Actually, like that we didn't spend a whole lot of time with. Now, what do they call the Citadel guys with the? Are they called like a thing? The guys in all white.
The White Walkers.
Oh,
I don't know
is that what they
called.
got?
No.
I like that we didn't spend a whole lot of time with them because we spent a lot of time with them in Fury Road, and this time we got different side characters. So I like the variety. There we go. I like the variety of side characters that we got.
They're called the War Boys.
Yes.
It makes sense that we didn't see as much of them in this one because and this is why it's important that you have to see in Fury Road. They kind of played a bigger part in Fury Road, especially since Nicholas Hoult was one of them. Right. Like they made them more main characters.
Right.
Yeah, you didn't have to. They're cannon fodder.
Right.
They're his pawns.
And that was fine, and they did cool. But we spend more time with the Mentis side people or henchmen or whatever you want to call it,
like his council.
Yes, and they were cool. I mean, they were not cool as in people, like personality wise, but they were cool characters to have around.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You got any non-spoiler notes that you liked about the movie or want to mention?
Non-spoiler notes. Waste no time. We roll right into it.
Why is my first note starts immediately?
Yeah. Waste no time. We're immediately at.
I appreciated it.
We're immediately at the title screen. It's giving no fanfare.
None. You don't get any type of like, sometimes with a title screen, they kind of like weave it in to like the credits.
It's not even like episodic like Terminator where it's dun 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 dun. It's just Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga set to no background music.
In case you forgot, this is the movie you're about to see.
I thought that was very interesting. Non-spoiler note, this is a side character who just appears in it. Thor wife, Elsa Pataki.
She has 2 roles in this.
Who is
Did you realize that?
Chris Hemsworth's wife. And was she the girl with the messed up face?
She
looked exactly like her.
I did not catch it because her face was so messed up.
She looked exactly like her.
Did she? I was like, oh.
And I thought that was interesting because I while watching it, I was like, is that supposed to be the same person? But I don't think so. I don't think it's supposed to be. She just played 2. They
had quite a few people playing 2 roles in this, which I ain't mad at.
So Elsa Pataki, if you don't know, is Chris Hemsworth's wife. She also is an actress. She is Dom Toretto's baby mama and Fast and Furious franchise.
May she rest in peace.
May she rest in peace.
She
does good action.
She's alive in real life.
Yes. She does good action. And she had a spotlight in this movie.
It was a nice little touch. She was also in Thor Love and Thunder briefly, I think, too.
Yes, she was.
Yeah. You know what? I ain't mad about putting your wife in your movies. Not at all.
I thought it was beautifully shot. Some of the shots were insane. Like, I don't know. I'm not, and we don't work in filmmaking, so camera rigs is a foreign language to me. Yeah. But how they were able to do some of the shots following the cars.
Yes. And
all the way up until, like, you're following this car from not a close distance, from a far distance. You get close to the car is still going, and the car runs to another car, and it's still in the same shot. And I was like, how do you get all of this in the same shot? It was shot really good. Lots of screensaver moments.
Yes, beautiful gowns.
The red, it
was like a
flare gun. It's like a smoke gun. gun.
It was kind of like a flare gun, but it was red powder.
Yeah.
Versus being like a flare.
The little powder guns that they shot for signals. When he shot it and it died, Dementis red. I thought that was amazing. Lots of great shots of Furiosa just looking across the wasteland and stuff like that. Yeah, I thought it was beautifully shot. Lots of fades to black.
Quite a few. So one thing that this movie does is it's broken into chapters. Now, I will honestly say that I don't remember the chapters, and by the time we were in the middle of the chapter, I couldn't tell you what chapter we were in. I was just like, just give me the movie.
They don't waste a lot of screen time with, even though this is a long movie, there's no like mid scene moments. Like once the scene is over, it fades to black and we're in the next scene. Yeah, we don't follow the character on the way to the next scene or something.
I didn't mind that. Like they spelled it out enough to know where we're going. All
the chases, you begin with the chase, and when the chase is over, we don't have to watch them slow down and get to somewhere else. The chase is over and we're in the next scene. They've arrived. Right.
They made it or they didn't.
We never see them leave. We never see them come. We see them on the road, and we see them when they show up wherever they show up.
You're right. We don't see them strapping up and booting up.
Yeah, no suit ups.
In the car.
we get a scene, of course, where Furiosa gets her robot arm. Yes. That's the only suit up scene we really get.
Pretty much. Everybody's at their destination or on their destination upon it when we get to it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Those are all my non-spoiler notes.
I have one that is sound design was very good. Yeah. So you mentioned there wasn't a lot of background music, like score. I'm sure there's a score associated with this movie.
They used one background like score.
Okay.
When they used it, it was just the same one.
Any of the gunshots, fighting, punches, like you hearing it.
Fleshy.
And we saw it in XD. So it's real nice and loud. Appreciated all of that because you could really I feel like I winced a couple times because I was like, ooh, that probably hurt. Oh, that's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
Ooh, that looked real bloody. So that is good. And I don't think this is a spoiler. Oh, I don't remember the chapter titles. I already said that. So nice touch, but it didn't add anything to the movie for me.
Honestly, they didn't have to be broken up into chapters. As many times as it did the fades to black, right? We could have gotten the sense of time passing as she aged up. You're right. And then I guess in the first couple chapters, it wasn't even her aging. We were just going to the next point of the story. Because some of the first chapters are very quick.
Yes.
Some chapters are like 1 or 2 scenes. And the scenes are so long and continuous.
That would be a critique, is that I didn't feel like the chapters added anything to the movie. And another note is I like how we don't skip her growing up. So the movie is about 2.5 hours and we're with young Furiosa for about 45 minutes.
45 minutes to an hour.
And it's not slow. Like young Furiosa going through some things in those 45 minutes.
I would say it's slower plot wise than Fury Road because Fury Road doesn't take any breaks at all.
You're right.
This one at least breaks with the fades to black.
And it's telling the story.
Changing the scenes. Because I think in Fury Road, we're pretty much just with Tom Hardy the whole movie.
Yes.
They do a lot of traveling in this one.
They do.
They go from a lot of different places.
And that's what I liked about this one is that we get to see more of the wasteland.
Yeah, different parts.
We're not just on the road. We're on a couple different roads.
Yeah.
Like a Google Maps.
Like even though everybody's messed up.
Still jacked
there are different places for them to go. It's not just the Citadel. There are different towns or different stops. Right. And of course where Furiosa comes from, there's the green place. There's allusions to all these other places as just well.
Also jacked. But
everything's awful. Like there's nowhere good to go. But there are places to go.
There's no McDonald's or nothing, but so that's all I have for non-spoilers. Are we ready for spoilers?
I am.
All right. We are going into spoiler territory in 3 and 2 and 1. So let's talk about what we liked and didn't like. Spoiler field.
Okay. So what I liked about the movie, other than how it was shot, I did enjoy all of the characters. It's specifically the henchmen.
The Dementis henchmen?
Dementis' both henchmen on both sides.
Okay.
I like Dementis' henchmen just because they were just the way they looked, they were cool. And even though they were part of a group, they were clearly all very savages and ready to pick over each other for literally anything.
Yeah. It's eating people.
Once Furiosa gets abducted and her mom is chasing them and she starts to kill the bikers one by one.
Very good shots.
I think Furiosa bites into the gas gas line of one of the bikes that runs out of gas.
Right.
So that guy, even though they're partners, runs over to this other guy and steals his fuel and stuff and tries to steal his wheel so he can keep going. I'm like, but you guys are supposed to be together, but it doesn't care. They're like just complete savages.
Yes. There was another scene where Dementus is trying to take over Gastown. So part of the movie is Dementus's attempt rise to power. So he's trying to take over Gastown. So they try to do this like Trojan horse situation. And the guy that's like overseeing Gastown is looking out like, this don't look right. Because it looks like the rig is being chased. But Dementus' team has taken over the rig. And they're trying to say, they're chasing us. Please let us in. And the guy's like, this don't look right. So Dementus says, it doesn't look real enough. We got to make it look real. And he shoots 2 of his own people. And his henchman dude is like, that ain't right. You a fool. And he's like, sir, this is the wasteland. I will kill anybody I need to get where I need to get. So that was, it just adds to you, like, everybody's trash. Yeah. Every man is for themselves. And we got to see different factions of people basically living the same life of, I'm going to get mine, you better get yours.
Yeah, I called him Gandalf. He's the history man.
Yes.
And is a historian who serves Dementus and narrates the film. So he's also the narrator.
Oh, okay.
He's played by George Shestakov. I enjoyed him. He looks like Gandalf the White.
With a lot of tattoos.
Apparently, I mean, it's not hard to imagine that nobody in this time can read. So he's one of the very few people who can read and write. So he reads and writes. He knows all of the world history. And he knows all the definitions to things.
Yeah, I didn't realize they didn't know what tears were. That was strange.
Yeah, that makes sense because we're now in the era of the apocalypse has happened so long ago that you're now, these people being born are born into the fallen world. So there is no literature or anything
Okay, interesting.
There was in the Mel Gibson films, it was the beginning of the fall. Mm-hmm. And as you move along those films, as he meets more and more people, they know less and less about history because they weren't there.
Okay. So that was interesting because young Furiosa or her mom, I can't think, Dementus has like one of them like choked up by her neck or something. And I think it's young Furiosa, and she's crying because they kill her mom. Mm-hmm. Obviously, she don't make it. And, young Furiosa is crying and Dementus tastes her tears. And he's like, what is this? And what's this? Gandalf is like, oh, tears. They're this, that. They taste like this. Tears are different based on if you're happy or sad. And he's like, oh, interesting. Kind of salty. Yeah. I was like, we don't know what tears are. This is weird.
Yeah, he has like the band of misfits. So outside the historian, he has another guy called the organic mechanic. Yeah. And he's basically Dementus's doctor, but he also is the maker of the human sausages.
They eating sausages, y'all, and them sausages is people. Yeah, that was nasty.
Gross. So,
but I mean, I guess he was good at his job. Unfortunately,
I also like the people in. Everybody's name is so weird. My mind went blank. And Morton Joe's
little. You talking his 2 sons?
I liked Rictus and Scrotus. So.
Why?
This is funny.
His name was Rictus Erectus, to be specific.
Yeah, so he has 2 sons. One is named Rictus Erectus, who is played by Nathan Jones, who is a famous WWE wrestler.
Okay.
And Josh Helmet plays Scrotus. Now, I want you to imagine Scrotus, the person in the film, and tell me where you recognize him from.
He looked like he played like a troll or something in another movie.
No.
A bodyguard?
He plays a character in a superhero franchise.
DC or Marvel?
Marvel. Fox Marvel.
Juggernaut. No, he's not Juggernaut. Obviously. Ooh, I don't know.
Young William Stryker.
Oh, young Stryker.
Yeah. From Days of Future Past.
Okay. Interesting. He big. He must not have been that big in the movie.
I think it was the prosthetics.
Okay.
He had some type of artificial forehead.
He did.
That protruded out. He looked like a Neanderthal a little bit.
They too look like crap.
You know what he looked like? He looked like the real messed up guy from...
Control.
No. From what was that one movie with Zeus? Where Ralph Fiennes played Hades.
Oh, yep. War of the Gods.
Wrath of the Gods.
Something like that. Just made that up, but I was just talking about.
Remember when Hades transformed that dude into that monster man with superpowers and a sword, and he was running through the woods, and he was killing all of them? That's what he looked like.
He looked like a
Clash of the Titans.
Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Clash of the Titans.
A little bit. Clash of the Titans. You're right. Oh, okay. No, I didn't know that was him.
I like the brothers. They were annoying. They were stupid, but their back and forth was hilarious.
They had a good
They remind me of like Biggs and Wedge from like Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I was like, they had a good sibling chemistry for sure. Yes, I like them
absolutely. Too. And I like even though she had a small role, I liked the mom because she was tough and she didn't give up and she was killing them fools.
Listen, Mom, so the movie opens up with basically Furiosa getting kidnapped by Dementis people and her mom is trying to go save her. Yeah. And they don't want anybody to know where they live. Mm-hmm. Basically the green place. They don't want the green place to be discovered. So not only does she need to go get her child back, she also need to make sure she kill these fools so they don't go ratting out that the green place exists and trying to come and get it. Right. So she taking them out. She's a sniper, basically. She taking them out. Boom, she was real good. And you realize that a movie, it's not just a one-day situation. She following him for at least a good,
It's 3 days because
you're right.
When they're on the way home, when they are making a break for it, Furiosa says we'll travel west for 3 days. So she was chasing him for days.
She wasn't, you're right. She was not giving up. She was getting her child back and she was going to kill them people along the way.
I like all while also trying to avoid a sandstorm.
Yes. And luckily, the sandstorm, as she actually gets Furiosa and they on a run and the sandstorm kind of wipes their tracks. They get caught up by Dementis' crew and then they end up killing her. So that's how they get Furiosa back in the movie.
The evolution of the cape.
Yeah, Dementis' cape, and I think that was symbolic. I'm going to guess it was symbolic because it starts off white.
He appears as like he's first presented as this Jesus-like figure.
I was going to say like a Jesus with like a hooded, it's kind of like a it's almost like
it looks like a parachute.
There it is. I was going to call it a windbreaker.
Into like a jacket.
A jacket.
So, fashions in the end of the world.
He got a little jacket going on.
So he looks like Jesus. He looks like he's wearing like Mary's robe and he's got the beard. He's got the long hair.
Yes, he's a pure clean leader.
And he's got all of the disciples.
Basically, jacked up looking grubby disciples. But
circled around him and following his orders and his dogs, And then eventually, once he's on the road to the Citadel, because his plan is to take down Immortan Joe and run all of the wastelands. Yep. He runs into one of the war boys who shoots off one of the red smoke guns.
Flares, gunpowder thingies.
What are we?
Right. We don't live there.
And it dyes his hair and his cape red. So going forward, they call him Dementis the Red. And he's nuts. He's very clearly nuts from the very beginning.
He ain't right in the head.
He's not, he looks normal. Right. Which the rest of them look deformed, which is normal.
Yeah. So he actually looks not clean cut, but he don't look too worse off. Like his clothes look a little tattered, but he's like clean enough shaven and his hair is like, look like it been washed a few times.
Very rarely do you come across a character in this who isn't
look all right.
affected
by something.
By the elements.
Right. So if you've seen the trailer, it's the screenshot where you see Chris Hemsworth looking up into the sky and it's all red. That's where he gets the red dye from.
Yeah, so he changes his name to Dementis the Red, but his personality doesn't change, which is funny because he changes his name a couple times, but he remains the same person. It just gets ridiculous, maybe nuttier.
Right.
So eventually his cape turns red because of the dye, and I was like, this was deliberate.
I think so, very much so.
This is the red cape is deliberate. It's supposed to be a parallel to Thor.
Oh, you think it was a parallel to Thor?
I think it was a play on Thor. This is
the dark Thor.
We're now seeing crazy, deranged Thor.
I mean, he has the fat Thor facial hair. He got that.
Yeah, he looks like Thor. He just looks like he's wearing a cape. I mean, he just looks like he's in a Mad Max film.
Psychotic Thor is what he could
so
be
I thought it was a deliberate creative choice to be like, we're going to make him look exactly like Thor and just make him 100% freaking insane.
Yeah.
And I liked his three bike chariot.
That was cute.
So he has a chariot.
How to say that.
He has a Ben-Hur like chariot.
Yes.
but there are no horses.
No.
Because
they eat those.
The end of They eat people, so there's no horses.
Ain't making it.
And he has 3 Harleys basically rigged up to the front of this chariot, and he's got like the cords attached, like the steering cords of a chariot. He's got them attached to like the pedals of the bike.
And somehow he can steer the 3 bikes as he's on his chariot.
So like the bikes are horses,
and he got 2 little flags on them,
like 2 little flags, and his cape.
Yeah.
So
that's how he rides around, with a big old cape that's now dyed white. Was white, now it's got some red on it, and eventually it turns to black, because I can't remember where the black comes from, but it got a nice ombre by the end of the movie. Yeah, and he's got a little chariot of fire, but the fire is motorcycles.
Yes, the fire is motorcycles. I thought that was cool. And I just like the way that everything in this world is awful and crazy, but they still have, they have this.
They still adapt.
They still have the ability to fly. They have guys with like propellers on their back that help them fly around. Like freaking stormtroopers. Yes. This one guy has a bike that flies with a parachute on the back of it. It looks like a tentacle monster. So it looks like you're being chased by a flying kraken.
I would love to know where that came from, because it's huge. It gets you a lot of wind speed. So very useful.
I like the fact that even though it's the end of times, engineering has not slipped.
People have not gotten dumber.
No.
Just crazier, I guess, is the way to put
still
that.
Creative.
Right. Gas Town is a nice setup.
Yeah, the little havens that are set up. Bullet Town, Gas Town. It's very video gamey. It's like visiting this regional area.
You gotta go across all this sand to get there.
It's safe inside the little area, but once you leave and go out into the Westland, all the fiends are gonna jump on you. Right. Did you have any notes?
They had a good advancements or repurpose of technology.
Yes.
I'll put it that way. I like that. I already said that I like how we don't skip Furiosa growing up. So we spend the first 45 minutes with young Furiosa, and she's going through basically getting kidnapped, being stuck with Dementors, and then eventually she gets traded to a Morton Joe to be one of his wives. She almost gets, unfortunately, raped by one of the sons, but she gets away, and they don't show anything, which I'm also thankful for, because don't nobody want to see that.
Yeah.
And then her wig that she makes, she cuts her hair off to make a wig, and the son tries to grab her, and he ends up grabbing the wig. The wig ends up flying away. And the way they show time progressed is the wig on a branch, and the branch grows out. So it's not your typical screen that says 5 years later. They just took a wig on a branch and then grew the branch out into leaves and stuff. And I was like, oh, clearly time has passed. Yeah. The wig is here.
At least a couple seasons.
Now the wig is on a tree. So I like that. And then when we bounce back, Furiosa is now grown up to be Anya Taylor-Joy. So I actually didn't mind spending that first part with young Furiosa, because we see what she gone through to see why she's so pissed off by the time that she's an adult, and why she want to have Dementis' head.
Yeah.
So that was good. I like that she was smart.
She was very smart.
She was not a untrained, unknowing, fish out of water kid.
She never got tricked.
She did not get tricked. She was like, she
did most of the tricking.
She escaped being sexually assaulted. So
yes.
She did very good. And then
especially in this time.
What else did I have? So when she gets older, she still wants to get back home. So she never forgets wanting to get back home. Mm-hmm. And when she she tries to escape on the new rig for Morton Joe that Jack is driving. And that plan ends up failing because Dementis' crew tries to take over the rig. And we get this really long, great, I think it's like the longest chase scene in the movie.
Yeah.
Where we basically got Dementis people trying to take over the rig. Jack and Furiosa trying to keep the rig from getting taken. They succeed from the rig getting taken, but Furiosa's like, tells Jack, get out. I'm trying to get home. She doesn't say that, but she basically wants the rig.
Yeah, she tries to jack him for the rig.
Right. And then Jack jacks her and kicks her out of the rig. And I was like, is he just going to leave her on the side of the road? But this is where Jack steps up. Jack rolls off, and you think she left in the desert. But then he comes back and says, you know what, girl? I'm going to help you if you help me. So they basically, they have a love story, quote unquote, but it's not your traditional cheesy love story.
It's intimate, but
it's not like
they never like kiss.
Right. We know they're a quote unquote couple, and she actually wants him to leave with her to go back home. Unfortunately, he don't make it, which is not a surprise because he's not in Fury Road.
Yeah, Dementus eventually catches up to them.
Yes.
And in Dementus's plot, so Dementus wanted to take over the Citadel directly, but he was outnumbered because the war boys be crazy. Yeah. So a lot of them. He fled and decided he's going to take over piece by piece until it. So first he takes Gastown. Mm-hmm. And he negotiates with Immortan Joe to let him keep Gastown.
And that's how Furiosa gets sold. Or whatever.
And then he wants to take Bullet Town, which is... So Gastown is where everybody gets their fuel. Bullet Town is where everybody gets their munitions. Bullets. Mm-hmm. Right. So, and Jack is just he's just a courier.
Yeah, he's the main... He is Furiosa and Fury Road.
Right.
Essentially. Yes.
So during one of their currying assignments to Bullet Town, they discover that it's actually been taken over by Dementus. And he catches up to them while they're trying to make a break for it.
Right. And also a good fight scene or chase scene. That's a fight, chase, shootout, whatever. That was real good too.
They strap Jack to the back of a motorcycle with some dogs and drag him to his death. And unfortunately.
I knew Jack wasn't going to make it because Jack not in Fury Road. I like that Jack was... he was the only other good person in this whole movie, to be honest. There's Furiosa and Jack, and that's it.
Jack was
everybody else deserves death.
Jack was almost like they tried to do like, what would Mel Gibson look like in this type of film? Okay. He was like he was like Generation 1 Mad Max. Okay. He was like original Mel Gibson before he was like messed up by the world being changed and before he witnessed that lady and her baby get ran over.
He didn't seem to be an awful person. And he basically told Furiosa in the beginning, like, help me rebuild my crew because his crew was dead now because the Dementus jacked them all up. Mm-hmm. And I'll help you get to wherever you want to go.
And he followed through on his promise.
He did. They were trying to get gone and that plan fell through because the Dementus took over Bullet Town and he ain't make it out.
And I think he knew.
So sad.
I think he knew, and that's why he had Anya Taylor-Joy on the last run. The last supply run, he had her drive the car that had the two bikes on the back. Yeah. Because I think he knew, like, after this, we're leaving.
Yes. They seemed to set, like, they knew, but of course the war boys or whatever didn't know that she was about to get out of here. Yeah. So I knew he wasn't gonna make it, but he was probably my third favorite character in the movie because he was the only other good person and everybody else was garbage.
He was. So everybody else is pretty terrible.
What else do I have? Oh, and then I have, of course, Dementus has Gastown a hot mess because Dementus takes over Gastown, and I don't know how much time passes, but it's crap. It's worse than what you would expect it to be for it to be supposed to be an organized fuel station. Yeah. It's a hot mess. Well,
first he screws up negotiations because he takes Gastown, kidnaps Immortan Joe's brother who is running Gastown. Right. And he has like he has him rigged up to this spike with a spring on the back that if he lets go, it's going to impale him through the skull.
Weird scene.
But he has him hostage. He takes him to Immortan Joe to do negotiations to give him Gastown. Mm-hmm. And then while one of the sons, I think it's Rectus.
Sure.
Rectus Erectus.
One of them.
Tries to go over there and inspect him. He accidentally rips out Chris Hemsworth's nipple rings. Both. And Chris Hemsworth lets go of the spring and accidentally kills Immortan Joe's brother. Mm-hmm. And then for the rest of the scene, we have to watch Chris Hemsworth monologue with his bleeding nipples.
It was weird. It was because he's crazy.
It was gross.
And he was just talking like he wasn't bleeding from the chest.
With his ripped, bleeding nipples.
And then he lies to Immortan Joe because Immortan Joe's like, who's this little girl? And he's like, oh, that's my daughter. And,
Immortan Joe's like, she
family is important and blah, blah, blah. And Furiosa's like, that ain't my daddy. And he killed my mama. And he's like, oh, okay, well, give me the girl too then. Right. I liked Immortan Joe in this. He's an awful person. And he ain't not an awful person.
They did a good job of giving you somebody to dislike more than Immortan Joe. You just wanted to see Immortan Joe defeat Chris Hemsworth.
You're right, because Immortan Joe comes up with a plan to basically take Dementus out because he fed up and he tired. Mm-hmm. So seeing that whole plan play out towards the end of the movie was your typical like prepare for battle kind of situation where we're seeing it play out as they're planning it. That whole scene was good too.
Yeah, but I like the fact that everything Dementus took over immediately went to crap because he just had no ability to run anything. He was not made for that.
No, and by the time we get back to him, because there's a there's a big chunk of the movie where we see Furiosa growing up or whatever. When we get back to him, he all gray. His beard is gray. His hair is gray.
He's stressed.
And it seemed like he owns something because he's more psychotic than usual. And all the people that work at Gastown want him gone. And he has to barricade himself in his little hood or whatnot.
So what would we change if we could?
I would have made it a tad shorter.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what I would have cut. Maybe some of the younger scenes.
I was going to say maybe the beginning a little bit.
Would have made it shorter, but yeah. I definitely would have made it a little bit shorter. I started to get a little antsy at the end. The 40-day war we didn't really see.
No,
that was kind of anticlimactic.
The narrator tells us it's a 40-day war, and then we skip right to day 40.
We didn't really get a final fight with Chris Hemsworth. We kind of got like a final chase, but she caught him pretty easily.
She set him up to she kind of said she had to track him down a little bit because they kind of split like roaches, and she tracks him down. But you're right, we didn't get like a final scene or a final battle. That would have been cool. Yeah. And they could have chopped. I like the beginning, but they could have trimmed it just a little bit.
I like the beginning, but she did chase them for a very long time. We were in the chase.
The mom, you talking about the mom trying to get Furiosa back?
It was a good 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, we spent more time with the mom chasing to get Furiosa back. More time than I thought we would have.
Yeah, we spent a very large chunk at the beginning of the film.
And I liked her, but it went on for a little bit.
Are we ready to talk about the end?
Sure.
So there's no final fight. Furiosa catches up to Chris Hemsworth. He, of course, never recognized her as an adult. No. Because the last time he saw her, she was a child. So the whole time she's been pursuing him and he's ran into her and stuff like that. Right. She's kind of kept her cool.
And I guess one thing to add, as Furiosa grows up, she actually disguises herself as a boy. So she shaves her head. And that's how nobody in the Citadel know that she's a girl. Right. And she ends up getting found out in the chase scene with Jack. So yes. So she doesn't look like herself.
So once she finally chases him down alone in the desert after he's stranded and she's hijacked his wheels. Right. And took his bullets while he was asleep.
Put a hole in his little canteen. So
in his canteen, right. He's at her mercy, and she takes the teddy bear from him because he gave her a teddy bear at the beginning saying that was his kid's teddy bear that he lost his family apparently before this movie as well. And we don't know if that's true or not because he has established himself as a liar.
Why not? The world is trash.
It doesn't make you feel for him because he's so awful, and everybody's pretty much lost everybody. So
yes, he ain't special.
He tells her, like, you and me, he gives her the you and me, we're alike speech, blah, blah, blah. The only way you would have turned out the way you are now is because I molded you.
Yeah, because he calls her Little D throughout the movie.
I gave you something to hate, which is me. So that's what made you strong. Because the only way you can survive in these times is if you have strong hate.
Which is not a lie, technically.
She ain't going for it.
She not, so.
They kind of like do the Mad Max thing where nobody really knows who Max is because you only hear about Max in like stories that people tell. So they kind of do the Mad Max thing with Furiosa where they're like, we don't know whether she killed Dementis by shooting him in the back of the head or some people say she gave him even harsher death by strapping him to the back of her car and dragging him through the desert. But what really ends up happening
according to the narrator,
right before her mother dies, she gives her a peach pit. A peach seed for planting a tree. And she tells her, make sure no matter how long it takes, you find your way back to the green place. And make sure you plant the seed to preserve the green. Right. And that Furiosa pretty much knows she ain't making it back home no time soon.
Well, you know what? When she loses her arm, the map was on the arm that she lost.
Yes. So but I think she remembered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she, instead of killing Dementis, takes him back to the Citadel and plants a tree through him. So
in the middle.
She plants a tree into the ground that grows through his pelvis and bears fruit.
He's the roots of the tree.
He's grown into the roots of the tree, and he's still alive. Like he's thinned out and desiccated.
It looks like he enjoyed it
because he's nuts.
Yeah, it's a weird. If it sounds weird listening to it, it's even weirder when you see it.
It's real. The Fly, Cronenbergian looking. It's gross.
It is gross, and you're like, is that man the tree? And he's like alert. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. According to the narrator, this was actually how he died. And I'm like, I don't even know if this is possible, but it's Mad Max.
Yeah.
So sure.
So, I mean, radiation, people have survived. Everybody's just weird and mutated. So
one of the wives had a baby that had like 2 bodies and 1 head.
Mm-hmm.
So why not?
Yeah. I mean, and how is Martin Joe alive?
He hooked up to some sort of nastiness. So I don't know. But I didn't mind the ending. It was just it was strange. Like he deserved whatever he got. Yeah, he deserved. Absolutely. But that I was not, I was like, I wasn't expecting that. So kudos for surprising me.
Okay. So who would like this movie? Who would we recommend it to?
If you like Fury Road, I think you would very much like this.
If you like any of the Mad Maxes, this pretty much follows it follows suit with all of the Mad Maxes. Even the Mel Gibson ones are gross for their time. Like the people, they still have like, they may not have the War Boys. Okay. Because Martin Joe wasn't around then. Oh. But they still had like messed up biker gangs full of weird people. Okay.
I would say, even if you want to try something different, because this is a different kind of movie. I can't even say what this is similar to in any other movie that I've watched. You should give it a try.
It's high octane. Yeah. Very good action sequences.
This one has more plot to me than Fury Road for sure.
Not a lot of CGI.
A lot of practical effects, I'm assuming. Yeah. So, yeah, if you like grand scale movies, I feel like you should check this out.
And lots of acting. Very good performances by Chris Hemsworth, especially.
Yes, he is. Everybody likes to say, "Oh, Marvel actors are typecasted." If you can act, you're fine. Yeah, and Chris Hemsworth can act. So
he can. So this was good for him. I'm excited to see what he'll pop up after this. Except other than Extraction, of course.
Oh, he need to keep doing Extractions
and Crime 101.
Oh yes, that one's. I hope he's the villain in that too. I hope he's the jewel thief.
Do we have a favorite line or favorite scene?
Favorite line or scene?
I'll say my favorite scene would be the rig chase. With Jack and Furiosa when he first realizes that she's a woman.
Oh, that was good. That was good.
Yeah, I think that was like the longest one in the film.
Favorites. Ooh, this is hard. I would say I like the scene when they were in Bullet Town in the shootout. And Furiosa is trying to save Jack. Jack's trying to save Furiosa. And Chris Hemsworth or Dementis is trying to get out and get away. That was good. Because we also get the scene where in the trailer where the bullets kind of rain down on him. That's from where that.
Yeah, that was a good shot. Yeah, wonderful shots. Yeah. Okay, so final word about the movie and our rating.
Fine. You should go see it. You should check it out. If you like any of the Mad Max movies, you would enjoy this. I'm going to give it 4 Nicole Kidman.
I'm going to copy that and do 4 Nicole Kidmans as well. I really liked it. I had some slight pacing issues, which is just consistent with these 2.5-hour films that I feel like there's stuff to cut. A little bit you could just trim just a touch. A touch. But wonderfully shot. It looked so good. It sounded so good. The actors and the characters. I mean,
I would watch this again.
You made me slightly enjoy Morton Joe. So
just for like
for a little bit.
I knew I was like, he's bad. I can't like him, but I like that he's doing more in this movie.
I like that he's doing more
his strategy.
Yeah. Like it was more planning and maybe because we didn't get scenes with him and the wives. Or something like that.
They
we didn't get scenes of him at his worst. He was mostly just being a general. So yeah.
He's still trash though.
He's still awful. Nobody deserved to live.
R.I.P. Jack too. R.I.P. Jack.
Okay, so yeah, absolutely 4 Nicole Kidmans. Absolutely worth a theater for the sound and the look alone.
XD or Dolby, I would suggest.
Yeah, biggest screen as you can get, especially because the Citadel sits so high up. So there's so many shots of people standing at the top and looking down, and it looks so real. Yeah. And if you can't make it to a movie theater, of course, we absolutely recommend you watch this on streaming. I don't think it should go to streaming soon. I think they're going to hold out. Do the long haul.
I think they're going to hold out like they did, because this is also from WB, right? I can't remember. I think they'll give it at least 6 weeks. Yeah. 2 months.
Absolutely.
At least. Jesus.
Okay. So that is our review of Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga. What are we doing next week?
Atlas?
Okay, so preliminarily, because the slot is empty.
Yeah, but there's not a big movie coming out next weekend that we personally want to review for the podcast.
We're going to stick Atlas in there, but...
Okay. You not feeling it?
Just in case anything else comes out.
You said you wanted to see this when we first talked about it. You were like, oh, we're going to watch it. We've seen worse.
I did. I don't think it's bad, but, it's Netflix. Okay. So there's a certain taste that comes with that.
You already know. But yeah, so maybe Atlas. We'll see. Maybe it'll be a surprise.
We are 1-1 on our Netflix movies.
What was the other Netflix movie that we
was Heart of Stone that you did not like?
I was going to say, that ain't one of that's
Damsel was not terrible.
We
enjoyed Damsel.
I like Damsel.
So hopefully Atlas trends in the Damsel direction.
Okay.
It's got people in it that we like. It's got Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
It's got Jennifer Lopez. Yep. Enough. It's got Sterling K. Brown in it.
We like Sterling K. Brown.
Sterling K. Brown liked our tweet.
Yeah, IG post.
Our IG post.
He knows us, we think.
He does, because we watched American Fiction and loved it.
We did.
So hopefully that happens twice.
Yeah, we're going to tag
Looking
him.
at you,
well, if we like
Sterling.
it, we'll tag him. If we don't like it, we just going to, keep it moving.
Okay, so that is our episode.
Thanks for listening. If you like our show, please give it a share. You can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on our website, vaguelynerdypodcast.com. Where you can also leave us a voicemail that is a nice voicemail. We don't play nasty voices.
Nice only.
On our podcast. You can also follow us on Twitter at Vaguely Nerdy Pod or at IG Vaguely Nerdy Podcast. And if you want to send us an email with suggestions, questions, things that you thought about the show, feedback, movie recommendations, or show recommendations, you can email us at vaguelynerdypodcast@gmail.com.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.